I'm really glad to be able to step in and talk about projects because in my work in the University School of Tourism in Asturias, projects became absolutely central to the way that we worked. And in the case of working in a CLIL classroom, you obviously can make the focus of the project some sort of topic related to your particular area of expertise. What are we talking about with a project? Tom Hutchinson is an OUP author of secondary school course books, and his course books use projects almost constantly. He says it's an extended piece of work, and I think that's quite an interesting basic characteristic. It's on a particular topic as opposed to a particular aspect of language. And most interestingly for me, the content and the actual presentation are normally determined principally by the learners. I promised you some moments in the chat box. There it is. If you have any questions for me at this stage, could you write them in the chat box now, and as the questions come up, I try to answer them. Yeah, Rocío, this is absolutely standard. You take a group of Spanish adolescents, you put them into project work, working in groups, and they will initially talk in Spanish. And we have to be patient with this, rather than imposing English upon them, which might actually dampen the whole motivation towards projects. I think we have to start by accepting that when they're in groups, they will talk to each other in Spanish, and then slowly push them towards trying to do some things in English when they're working in groups. As we're doing projects, we fit in different skills, and this is why CLIL works. As we're getting started with a project, we fit in chances for students to listen to people talking about the topic, and then to talk to each other about what they've heard. We also get chances to listen and to speak as they decide their groups, decide the content, do the data collection, and as they're preparing texts and rehearsing final presentations. And obviously, if students do a spoken final presentation, then they're going to get a chance to speak in English because they're giving the presentation, or the chance to listen to English because they're listening to class colleagues with the presentation. Similarly, if they go on the internet to collect information, they're going to be reading in English without us having to push them to read in English. And writing might come up as they're preparing the text which they hope to publish, and if they publish a written text as the end point of their project, then again they're going to be writing in English. None of this actually requires you as CLIL teachers to teach any English. Also happening in this same sequence of steps in any project is this business of learning to negotiate with each other what they want to do next. And this is part of working in a team. So all of these negotiation and teamwork skills are happening very, very much in the later stages of any project. Some groups will have problems. They'll have poor group dynamics. They'll begin to actually argue with each other. Okay, that's where we use our teacher skills. We step in. If necessary, we use Spanish, we sort out the tension, we sort out the problems, and we help them to move on to the next stage. Also, of course, they're teaching presentation skills. Let's move on because we've still got a fair bit of work to do. Evaluating projects. Some of my students' projects ended with them standing up in class and giving a presentation to the whole class. This quickly moved into a PowerPoint-based presentation rather than just a simple paper presentation. And the dilemma for me as a language teacher was, my God, how do I assess this? Some of the stuff they're presenting, some of the days they stand up and talk to the rest of the class, they are absolutely superb. But some of the language that they're using in terms of English language is absolutely appalling. And that generated my first dilemma, but I would say to yourselves as CLIL teachers that this really shouldn't be a dilemma. Your focus, in my opinion, in your CLIL classes is your subject matter. And if your students present the subject matter well, whether it be written or spoken, and there are language errors, I think we can leave the language errors to the English teachers. Perhaps we inform the English teachers, but I don't think we as CLIL teachers should worry too much about the language our students use. I think we should tend to evaluate more the content of their presentations and how much it represents their understanding of our particular subject area.
thank you, Robin. You know, that was really a really detailed look at how you could go about implementing projects in your CLIL classroom. So thanks very much, and thanks to all the participants as well. Some really insightful and interesting questions that really, you know, bring the session alive. Is very appreciated.
Great questions.